Genocide happens for a variety of reasons. There are 8 main stages of genocide. Stage 1. Classification. During this stage, leaders of the genocide start with an us-against-them mindset. They often use propaganda to accomplish this. They will brainwash entire populations into joining them and hating a minority or group of people. Stage 2. Symbolization. Genocide leaders will focus on certain characteristics to channel their hatred. By keeping these characteristics in mind and planting them into the minds of others, they gain followers and power.
Stage 3. Dehumanization. Using words and actions against populations to make them feel inhumane. Calling and treating them like animals, acting as if these populations are below the leaders and followers, etc., are ways that these dictators can get their way. Stage 4. Organization. People are grouped to perform a specific task. In the Holocaust, people that could work were grouped, and those that were unable to or deemed unfit were sent into a different group, likely in the gas chamber or crematorium.
Stage 5. Polarization. Groups take sides and initiate conflict. Due to the influence of the radicals, the victims have been driven apart and taken sides. Propaganda is released by the leaders to separate these groups even more. Stage 6. Preparation. The dictators acquire weapons of mass destruction and place their victims into slots like pawns. Short-term impacts of genocide would include the acts of genocide have led to the loss of culture. Assimilation will soon start to take place because they are being stripped from their cultural identity, and some are being forced to adapt into the culture they have been placed into. People have lost their life, family, and their will to live after living in fear.
Those who experience genocide often fall victim to illnesses such as trauma, PTSD, and other mental illnesses.
One example of genocide is Stalin's regime. Joseph Stalin, leader of the Soviet Union from 1929 to 1953, had various murderous outbreaks, resulting in the death of millions of innocent lives. Stalin initiated many genocides, such as the Great Purge and the Ukrainian famine.
A second example of genocide is the Holocaust, which affected the entire world. The Second World War revolved around this event, which lasted from January 1933 to May 1945. Started by Hitler's endless hate for the Jewish population, this horrid genocide took the lives of over 6 million Jews.
Prevention. Genocide can best be prevented by setting up systems that punish countries that attempt to commit genocide. One measure in place is the Genocide Convention. The UN hosted the Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide. Importantly, the Convention establishes on state parties the obligation to take measures to prevent and punish the crime of genocide, including by enacting relevant legislation and punishing perpetrators. Whether they are constitutionally responsible rulers, public officials, or private individuals, having measures that hold people accountable will prevent genocide and allow countries to band together against other groups that have not signed the treaty.
Undeniably, genocide is one of the most despicable, evil actions that can be taken by any individual or group. Although there have only been a few genocides to date, they have all been the lowest point in human history. Despite racial, religious, or other prejudices, genocide should never be enacted.